Hello all, and welcome back to my channel, redfemmediaries. Okay, this video is just going to be a re-upload from the video I did on Poor Man's Podcast. He had me on the show and he did a long video. As some of you know, I am still battling COVID, so I am not feeling well. But I still need to put content out, because if I don't put content out, then people tend to disappear. So I'm going to re-upload a show that he did where he allowed me to just speak unabashedly. Don't know if that's a word, but he did. So I'm gonna upload it here. But besides that, all my subscribers, I want you to kind of lay back for a while, and I want to talk to my boy Caleb. I just had a conversation with you, son. You're 11 years old now, and we just had a conversation. I'm doing this video just for you because I want to cement that conversation that we had so that you will remember the things I said. I do this channel for you, son, because I want to impart in you as much wisdom as I can. In our conversation this evening, I made it clear that I want you to find a wife that is better than me. I want her to be more beautiful than me, more intelligent than me. I want her to be kinder than me, and cook better than me, and clean better than me. Another thing that we talked about in our conversation, we talked a lot about, sex and marriage, and if you like girls. I know. It was a tough conversation, but it did my best. What I want you to understand, son, is when you were created out of love. We wanted you, son. But what I need you to understand, you are blessed in the fact that your mommy and daddy wanted you, but even if not, you're here. Okay? For whatever reason, God saw fit for you to come through, and I question that sometimes myself. Why am I here? But regardless of why, here I am. So what I want you to remember, son, as you go through this very difficult life, and it's going to be difficult, son, I want you to remember the things that we taught you. Okay? If you remember, my boy, you're in Taekwondo right now, and in Taekwondo there are 6 tenets. And as you go through life, I want you to remember these 6 tenets. And so, you know them, but I'm going to say them. Courtesy. That means to treat others with the respect that you expect to receive yourself. Integrity. Integrity, son, is honesty. Not just with other people, but with yourself. You must have integrity, son. Perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit, and humility. We paid good money, son, for you to go through Taekwondo, so I really need you to understand those 6 tenets. Next, son, I want you to remember the fruit of the Spirit. Me and your daddy paid good money for you to go to a private Christian school, and if you remember, son, I taught you Sabbath school for many years. And I want you to remember the fruit of the Spirit. This is in the scriptures, son, that I taught you myself, Galatians 5:22 to 23. And son, I want you to compare it to the 6 tenets in Taekwondo. The fruits. Love. Not that romantic stuff, son. Love is self-sacrificing. Joy, that's the fruit of the spirit. Joy, not happiness, son, because happiness is circumstantial. You can have joy despite your circumstances, my boy. Peace, inner peace. Patience. My son, you know how many times I have explained to you that you must have patience. Kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and the most important one of the most important ones, self-control. That's in your 6 tenets. Okay, my boy, my love, I'm going to stop now, and I want you to listen to this interview I did with a young man. His channel is called Poor Man's Podcast. He brought me on his show. He let me speak, and then I started my channel so I can impart wisdom onto you and your brother. All right, my boy, I love you. And listen, son, take notes and learn. I don't know if I'm going to be here when you hear this, because my cancer is an aggressive one, son. But hear your mommy's voice. Take my wisdom. Learn, son. Your mommy didn't have it easy. Okay, please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. This is Red Femme Diaries. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, what's up, YouTube? Let me go ahead and pull y'all up real quick. Got a good show today. We should have a good one today. All right, we going. We live. Y'all can hear me? We all good? We all good? Get the chat going. Make sure y'all hit that like button when y'all coming in. Interesting show today. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. For those who do not know, I did a live stream last week, and a lady, a woman by the name of Nyla came on. Spoke a lot of truths, a lot of dangerous truths, all right? Things that people don't want you to hear, but it's necessary to say. These are the conversations that have to be had for there to be progress. These are the hard conversations, but the ones that have to be had for progress, okay? So, I really want to appreciate, before we come on, I want everybody to be respectful to Nyla. For all the people and all the women and all the haters out there, mostly the women. It was women in there hating on Nyla for some reason. But they were saying she was a white lady. She might be, they were saying she's not from the country. They were saying, oh, she's not a parent. She's not married, this and this and that. I have confirmed. We have spoken on a couple of occasions now. Nyla is legit. Her ideas are completely thorough. She is indeed married. She is indeed a black woman with natural hair, and she has black children. So for anybody that's out there trying to use that to deflect from a good argument, yeah, that's out the window. So Nyla, are you on now?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right, just making sure you in. On the last show, you said some things. You were talking about the nature of women, okay, and how a lot of men don't really understand how bad it is. And even I was caught off guard when you talked about just how bad it was in your experience. So I wanted you to dive into it a little bit in terms of how you feel, or what is the nature of women in 2021?
Well, in 2021, I would have to say the modern woman is extremely deceptive. And I would say she's so intensely deceptive that she deceives herself first before she even deceives others. And that's the part that's really dangerous, because if you have a person that knows they're being deceptive, there's something you can do about that. But the modern day woman, she doesn't even know that she's being deceptive. And we see this in many different examples of how deceptive they are. We obviously see that in you see the weaves and the makeup and the lashes. And is it okay if I mention Kevin Samuel's show?
Oh, you can mention anything you want to. This is the Nyla takeover for
Oh
anybody
no.
that's. This is the Nyla takeover. We're gonna let her do what she got to do. I had a lot of backlash for even questioning some of the things you were saying last time. So I want to let you. I want to let you dive in. Mention anything you want to mention. Go where you want to go. I'll help narrate. I'll help give some questions to direct the thing where we're going. But other than that, I'm gonna let you go ahead and do what you want to do.
Got it. So one thing that I noticed in watching his show, that many of the women would call in, and without a doubt, they were giving themselves nines and tens. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he would look like he was shocked, but the thing of it is, these women, they truly believe this. And so that's where I'm going with the deception in a woman's mind. She lies to herself. These
Right.
women believe this when they put on that fake hair and them lashes in their warped mind. They really truly believe that this is what they look like. And another way that I've noticed, and that you see the evidence of this. Uh, I don't know if you've heard the concept of if I can remember the concept of a white standard of beauty. Have you heard
Yeah.
you've
Oh
heard that
yeah.
before? Okay,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm going to ask you. I'll ask you a question. Who do you hear talking about the white standard of beauty?
Yo, anytime I hear people talking about Eurocentric ideas of beauty,
Yes.
is always black people.
Yes, but I'm going to say specifically white women. To be honest with you, I
Oh,
don't really hear black men talking about the white standard of beauty when you really think about it. First, you don't hear white women and white people saying that we are the standard of beauty. You don't hear them saying that. You know what I'm saying? Me
oh
personally,
yeah,
when
yeah. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. If you're saying in terms of, yeah, I get where you're going. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I
You
don't
don't
really hear
you
black
don't
men. Yeah,
necessarily hear yeah, you don't hear white people say, yeah, we're the standard. Yeah, I get
yeah,
where you're
we're
going.
the
Yeah,
most
that's
beautiful.
true.
We're the
That's
most
very true.
wonderful. You don't hear them saying that. And to be honest with you, I don't know that I've ever heard a man. Okay. Can I make one thing clear before we talk about there's a difference between a man and a beta simp? Two totally different things. I
I
never hear
couldn't
a
agree with you anymore.
yeah. So when I'm saying man, I'm talking about a straight, normal alpha, a man. I never hear a man talk about a white standard of beauty. This idea was something that was created by the black woman, this white standard of beauty. And the reason why they do that, because in the mind of a black woman, the white woman in her mind is the standard of beauty in her mind.
Uh,
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, it's reflected in some of our culture. I ain't gonna lie to you. You see people.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
mean, exactly what you was talking about, the fake, especially with the fake hair. We want to cry cultural appropriation all day, right? And it's usually Black Twitter, and you know who's on Black Twitter is mostly Black women. And this isn't, by the way, me and Nyla, she is a Black woman, and I'm married to a Black woman. So this is not to attack Black women, but we're going to
Not
talk
at
about some
all.
of these tough topics because this is the truth. It is what it is. You want to talk about cultural appropriation, but you walking around with 21-inch blonde hair in your head.
Yaki, or
Like,
whatever it's called, or whatever the different names are. But what I'm saying this is to say this: the black woman hollers about a white standard of beauty, but you're the only one that's saying that it's the standard. The black
right.
woman is saying that, and so in my belief, in my dealings with women and black women, I honestly believe that the black woman hates her own image.
Mm. Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that is something that is just from? I would assume it's in terms of nature versus nurture. I'm assuming is nurture, and it's an influence by society. Do you think that that's an influence of society, or do you think it's just an insecurity?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, well, first off, the way we got here in 2021, a lot of black women have learned this from their mothers, to hate themselves. And here is where I can kind of tell a little bit of my story and what happened to me.
Please
So,
do.
okay, so I was born in 1977, and I could tell you that I didn't see what my full head of hair looked like until I was a grown adult. A lot of women in my age group knows this story. We know about the pressing comb, right?
Mhm. Oh
Like
yeah.
this is going to get pretty deep. So, in that day and age, like the 80s and 90s, it was a very bad thing to show your natural hair texture. And the reason why I'm saying this is from a woman, my father, he wanted all of us girls to have natural hair. He wanted our hair to be natural, but my mother insisted that our hair was constantly pressed and straightened. And this is how deep it gets. And I'm going to tell a little story here. I grew up in California, blocks from the beach, blocks from the beach. And I can tell you right now, I do not know how to swim. And the reason why, and that's terrible, the reason why I do not know how to swim, and many Black people do not know how to swim, is because we were not allowed water to touch our hair. Because
Wow.
if water
Yeah,
touched
that's
pressed hair, it would revert back to its kinky state. And the Black mother didn't want that because it was too much trouble to deal with our head of hair. So she pressed my hair, and then she took me to a shop where her name was Odessa Grant, an older lady who was supposed to be putting knowledge and wisdom into me. She pressed my hair. My mother one day told me that our hair was a curse. My mother told me this. White people did not tell me this. My mother told me this, that our hair was a curse because of its kinkiness, and our hair is very unique. And so, but back then you couldn't show it. So basically, that's poor. I kind of grew out of that, and you saw my hair, so you know that my hair is natural now.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
but the problem is when that is put into a child's head, we grow up thinking that our hair is bad. I'm not alone in this. You had mothers pressing their daughter's hair. You had mothers putting that chemical, the relaxing chemicals, which are cancer causing, into our hair, causing our hair to thin out and to bald. My mother and my sister both are completely bald. They'll never have hair again because of the things that we put our hair through.
Wow.
And here's where the deceit of a woman comes in. You hear women say, "Oh, we wear weave because it's a protective style and we're protecting our hair." That is such a lie. What are you protecting your hair from? The light, the
And
air, the sun?
And no, I don't want to, because last time people weren't having it. I tried to, intervene, and people weren't having it. They want to hear you talk, so I do want to allow you to talk. But now that you say that, and I'm gonna put up a poll after this, so anybody that's in the live, make sure y'all stick around for the poll. Y'all probably see it on y'all timeline. But when I have conversations with Black men, typically speaking, it is them who say they like natural hair. Black men like
Absolutely.
natural hair, and when I speak to white guys that like Black women, use them to be lighter skinned. So I'm like, you like a white girl with a tan, is what it is, because they say they want them lighter skinned with straight hair, and that tends to be what white guys who date Black women want, not what Black men want. If I'm going off my anecdotal evidence, you know what I mean?
I'm going to say this, and again, we're kind of focusing on the nature of a woman. Here's the thing about a woman. Let's just say it's absolutely true that Black women, dark skin, kinky hair, and as you see, I have kinky hair. Let's say that we are not the standard of beauty. Okay, let's say that is fact. We figured it out. We did tests. We are not the standard. But here's the thing about the mind of a woman, Black, white, or any other race. We have seen dark-skinned Black women, kinky-haired Black women with husbands and children, right? Got a whole continent of them. The thing about the modern day westernized woman, we don't just want one man. We want the attention of the men. Because if you are a dark-skinned woman and you're fit, you're friendly, you put a smile on the face, you can get a man, but that's not enough for us. We want to be the standard. And so
Right.
that's where the hatred in a Black woman's heart for and the desire to be white is. We want to be the standard. We want all the men lusting after us. We're not happy with finding just that one man. We want them lusting after us. So that's why they want to put on the weave and all these crazy things, because we want to be lusted after. We're not satisfied with our one man that wants us. You see what I mean?
Do you think that's natural for all women to want more male
Absolutely.
attention, or as much male attention as they can get, or
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the thing of it is, we're in America, and here we're just 13% of the population. So
right?
obviously, that's just reality. We're only 13%, and we do look unique. We have hair like that no other race has. We talk about white
Right.
people, but
It's
Asian women.
beautiful. It
Yeah.
truly is. It's beautiful.
Well, but to be honest with you, the hair that Black women buy is not from white people.
It's
They're
from
getting the
India.
majority, exactly. They're getting the majority of their hair from India. So pretty much every other race has this type of hair. Ours is extremely unique. And so that's where they're getting the hair from. We are different. And so, but the way I see it, yes, our hair is unique. Yes, it's different. But guess what? Look at the Asians. Don't they have unique eyes? Asians have
Yeah.
unique eyes, and you do have some Asians that want to change it, but that's the way they look, and that's the amazingness of our creator. And that's how I learned to embrace myself. I'm unique. You know what I mean? My hair is different, but once we learn to do our hair, it's absolutely beautiful.
It is. I'm trying
It's
to tell you.
beautiful.
And you know, now that you went down kind of talking about wanting more male attention, you look at cases like Aisha Curry and her, you know, being with
Oh yes.
the come on now, it's Steph Curry. Like, how, if you can't please a woman, you Steph Curry. How do you
Well,
expect a regular man on 40K to be able to keep a woman entertained enough to where she want to stick around? You know what I mean? Because let's just be completely honest about this, and this is kind of going down the same topic, because you talk about black women wanting a lot of attention and sexual attention from everyone around them, and you look at the who consumes the most social media, specifically Instagram and Twitter. It's black women.
yes.
When you look at like hypergamy, and I tell people this all the time, what we're going through right now seems to be a shift in people being greedy, because in most places in America, now 42K, which is what the average black man makes, ain't a ton. But in most places in America, you can do okay with 42K if you're living at your means or below your means. You can do okay with 42K. So the idea that black men don't have enough to provide, and that's why, you know, black women don't want to submit, and this is that was always out the window to me, and I always found that a little weird, because back in the, you know, when we had less, even before, because a lot of people like to go, oh, what, you know, slavery, this is, well, during that time we were the highest married, you know, you get what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
it's not that we lack money or resources to protect and provide for black women. It's just that they seem to not want, it's just not enough. It's kind of where I'm going. It seems to not be enough nowadays.
Well, I'll say it's not enough for us because, as you know, I am from California, and so in California, I grew up around all different races, and so I was around Hispanic immigrants, Asian immigrants, and what I noticed is they would come here, and they would, oh my gosh, they would work their butts off. They were kind of like us. And after post slavery, they're like us. They worked hard, they lived meager, and so here's what they did. And unfortunately, we used to do, but somehow I guess we've gotten lazy and we've stopped doing this. So they may make little money, but here's what they do: they live below their means. And so what
Bingo.
happens is you work hard, you build what's called a legacy. So that
Bingo.
you live, you save, you buy property so you can pass down to that next generation. Now that next generation, okay, so they're going to get a little bit of better start than you. Maybe you might pass down a home or give them an inheritance, and so that next generation builds on from that. And that's pretty much the American dream. You build a legacy somewhere. Why, I can talk about that, but I don't want to get too deep in that. Unfortunately, the black community, we went askew. And
I couldn't agree
unfortunately,
with you anymore.
what
I couldn't agree with
happened
you anymore.
what happened with our women and what's not happening with others, we didn't stick with our men. We were manipulated. The black woman, they took the government instead of their husbands. They chose the government and government assistance instead of being loyal to their husbands and the black community. That's what happened with us.
And when you talk about work ethic, and this is another thing I say, because there seems to be a quote unquote gender war between black men and black women. And they're going, oh, black women make more than black men, and this and that, black men need to step up. Well, I mean, like 57% of black men live in the middle class, or, you know, and that's not including who lives in the upper class. I believe it's about 60 to 63% live in the middle or upper class. So why are we having this disconnect in terms of being able to put it? You got black men on average making 42. You got black women on average making about 36. But together, that's about 78. And that's what people are mistaken. That's why we're falling so far behind. And I tell people, at the end of the day, we all want the same result. Okay, we all want stronger families to build a stronger community, but we just have different ideas of how we're going to get there. I personally believe kind of what you're saying in terms of black men have taken the criticism and we are doing better statistically speaking. Okay, but black women haven't had that criticism. And now that it's new, it's outrageous. But you see the manosphere going at such a rate because there's truth behind it. People think when truth, and women in general, like when it comes to it, like the manosphere, they think we want to just come here and hate women. When the truth of the matter is, the people here love women. we just don't like what women have become in 2021. So
I can absolutely agree with that. And I think I'm going to your point as a whole, not just Black women, but I do believe we lead it. I do think throughout the Black community, there's a low level sense of self-loathing a little bit. So one thing I noticed, especially when I was living in California, you would see Black people, they would live in an apartment, but yet they would drive into their apartment in like a Mercedes or a Benz or things like this, or they would be, wearing the flyest, Jordans, or if you really want to go back into the 90s, expensive jewelry and all these things. And I think it's because it's a low level sort of self-hatred. Like we want to put these things out in the forefront to say, hey, look, I'm worthy. But no, we already are. We already
bingo.
are. It's okay that we are a small percentage of the population, but we really need as a whole to have a sense of self-pride. And I think the reason why it's so prevalent in our race is because our race is a matriarchy. We let the woman be the head. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
That's a woman's state of mind. You know what I mean? To be vain and all these things, and we're letting the women lead, and so that's a problem. We want others to see us as being rich. And if you really want to be honest, people that really have money, they're not really trying to show it like that.
Bingo.
It's typically people that don't have money that want to appear like they have money.
And
that
Nyla, let me just say that when you look at designer clothing, and this is for across the board, the cheapest designer clothing has the most logos on it. When you look at the most so you see the bag with the LV all over the bag. Yep. That's the cheapest one on the shelf. Yep. Okay, and we'll get that one because we want people to see that as LV, not knowing that the people who actually have the money don't buy that. They just buy the all black purse that doesn't have anything on it because it's more discreet. It's almost being a part of a secret club, and it's sad because I want to say the men are almost incentivized to practice this financial illiteracy, if I can say that, because even and this is a story, I've shared it before, but when I was in college, I was very to myself. I would already have my girlfriend. I knew where I wanted to go in my life. I knew I wanted to get married. This is what I was going to do. So I wasn't too worried about that. What I wanted to do was be the best I could be in sports. So, and I was always kind of financially sound. Okay. So I never really bought things that I couldn't afford or that I could afford, but I just felt like it was too expensive for what it is. So we would go to practice and people would make fun of me because I got the ripped up shoes. Because I'm using my shoes until they're done. I'm not going out and buying no new shoes. This isn't that. I'm using them till they're done. And at this time I just had a flip phone and what they did was try to make me feel, obviously I knew better but I could see how somebody else could be made to feel as if they're lesser than because they don't have those things, but I had a car. So we would have everybody on my team asking me for rides, but they walking around in $300 shoes. And but that was what the girls wanted. They didn't care that the dudes didn't have a car. They just wanted the $300 pair of shoes.
And that's why I say it is a problem within the Black community, but because we have chosen to put the woman as the head, that's it right there. The men are doing what the women want. That's bad idea. Bad idea. And I'm like you. My car is from 2013. It's been paid off, and I'm going to ride that thing till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? But when you're like that, that's because you're secure within yourself. When you're doing all these things, you somehow feel that you're less than. And this is not about white supremacy or white standard abuse. None of that. They're not going around saying we're white and we're supreme. We need to be okay with who we are. We need to put women back in their place. Because all of this is a woman's idea. That vanity, that's a female mindset. And unfortunately, that female mindset is pervasive in the Black community. And that's why we need to have these talks, because we need to stop this. Because at the end of the day, it's killing us, honestly.
Can you tell me kind of what you feel about the 78% out of wedlock rate, probably about 80 in 2021? I want to know how you feel about it and what do you think? How do I word this? What do you think? I guess what do you think we could do to kind of prevent that? Like, why do you think that 78% rate? Okay, let me just because I do this a lot. Let's go like this. what are the effects of a man being raised by a single mother? Let's do that.
Dear.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
You're
Because
trying to make sure I get hated, huh?
if we're dealing, okay, here's the thing. If we're dealing with the 78% out of wedlock rate, and we would have to assume that most of those children are being raised by women, and
Yes.
statistically speaking, that would be a true assumption.
Mhm.
How is that going to affect the men that then go out into the world and have to show,
Right.
that are representing themselves as black, that are black people? Like,
So,
how does single motherhood affect black children, black boys in particular?
well, the thing about it is, before we even get into the black part of it, the data is already out. The facts are
Right.
there. It's been stated. Children that are raised, I don't care what your race is. If you're raised in a single parent household, the probability of you going to prison, the probability of you committing suicide,
Right, double,
the
2 times the chance of committing
absolutely,
suicide. We got
you becoming a single
you're 2
parent
times more
yourself,
likely. You're 2 times more likely to drop out of school.
absolutely.
And for black girls, I mean, or you're about 3 times more likely to commit a violent crime.
Yep.
You're 30% more likely to not have a job at the age of 30. And for black girls, you're almost 3 times more likely to get pregnant before the age of 18. So then the cycle repeats itself.
Going to prison, all of the above when you're raised by a single parent, but it affects us more. Our numbers are just higher. You know what I'm saying? When there is not a man there to create stability, and so that's why we're trying not to go off topic here, but that's why we're talking about the nature of a woman. A woman is not able to create the stability in a child the way a man can. It's been said before that pretty much a woman is useful for their children up until around about the age of 8. After that, it's absolutely good to have us there, of course, but after that, a man needs to take over, especially in the life of a male. If that father is not there, essentially what that child is going to do is he's going to take on the emotions of that female, that woman, because that's all he sees. And all this stuff about we can divorce and the kids can be here one weekend and they're the next. A man child, a boy child needs to see his father every day. He needs to see how his father moves. He needs to see how his father walks, how he talks. He needs to see that on a daily basis. So in reality, our court systems are really terrible because it's set up for the woman. But in reality, it's the man, if anything, that should really get charge of the children after the age of 8. Because it's the man that's going to create that stability. I'm very nervous because I'm about to say something that they're really not going to like right now.
Say whatever you like,
okay.
and we'll deal with whatever comes with it, however we want to. At the end of the day, this is our platform, and this is why we have it. So nobody can tell us to not say what we want.
Okay, here we go. I hope your audience holds on.
All right, hold on to your hats, people. You heard it. You got the warning.
Women essentially, are like children. You've heard this, right? When a plane's going down or a ship is sinking, what do they say? Women and children first.
Right.
Essentially, women are like children. I'm about to say it, and similar to dogs, but I'm gonna explain that. Children and your dog's pets need to be trained. If you do not train your children up right, and if you do not train your dog up right, what are they going to do? They're going to crap all over your house. And if you have a woman out here uncovered, untrained, unsubmissive, that's exactly what she does. She craps all over the house.
And Nyla, let me I actually did a video, and I understood that it was a dangerous topic too, because if you say something like that, obviously people are just gonna take it and say, oh, they compare women to, not understanding we're talking about a little bit of behavior and what you have to do. It's not like we're saying women are dogs, obviously.
No, I'm saying because in the same sense, a woman needs to be trained. In my personal belief, I believe a woman always has to have a male covering over her. A woman is supposed. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, but that's for some reason is so taboo, and it's not even the word "train" may rub people off the wrong way. But if you're sitting and you're offended right now, think of being coached. Okay, think of a man just having to teach you. A man just has to kind of. You have to be coachable as a woman. You have to allow a man. You jumping on you expect him to lead, so he has to be able to lead you and coach you to be what he
Absolutely.
needs to get y'all to the promised land. I don't understand why that's such a taboo thing to say right now. It's maybe because feminism then moved into the way, and it's making a lot of people feel like anything a man has to say is a part of the patriarchy. So now we're not even allowed to have conversations with women. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
it's
So that's actually a better word. Well, I mean, I kind of like the word train myself, but
yeah. I
I
mean,
think
it is what
people
it
can
is.
swallow. I think people can swallow the word coached a little bit better. Essentially, what happens is a woman is supposed to go from her father's home, straight from her father's home and her father's covering, into her husband's home, into his covering, so she has consistent guidance. Unfortunately, what has happened in the Black community is our women are uncovered. A lot of times they were raised in a single family home. They've been around women, so there was no guidance there. And then she's out in the world. A lot of women don't want, at that point, they've never been raised with the guidance of a male father figure. And so now she's out here in this world and she doesn't know how to submit to the authority of a man. So essentially, we have a bunch of women out here that are wild. And as we said before, when the white community gets a cold, the Black community gets the flu. And so you have a bunch of wild, uncovered, untrained, unsubmissive Black women running around here, and we can see the fruits of that. We can look at the Black community and see what happens when you put the women at the head. We have high crime rates, violent crime rates. We have high incarceration rates. We have high. We don't talk about this, but our abortion rates are extremely high. We've been at 13% since I was a kid. Our numbers should be way higher, but we have millions of our Black babies are in genocide. This is our women that are killing their babies. We have all of these different things. This is what it looks like when you put the women at the head. We are the only community that does this. No other community on this earth puts their women at the top but us.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. I
Right.
couldn't
And
agree
when
with
you
you more.
talk about these things the way I do, you say that you hate women, you hate Black people. Not at all. I'm a woman myself. I don't hate Black women. I just believe that there is a place for a woman, and our place is amazing if we would take it. But somehow things have gotten flipped in our community where we put the women first. And so let me just add this really quick. So what happens is, back to your question, when you do put when you do have the woman raising the kids as a single mom and you don't have a father, what happens is the Black woman, she flips the roles. So what you see now, you see a lot of Black women out here being very masculine. You know what I mean? You're right.
That's
The
go
women are
talk
going
to him,
after.
Nyla. Talk to
Okay.
him.
Yeah, so you have the women out here going for those degrees, going for these high jobs, and going for this, trying being like the men. And then what do you have with the men? You have overly emotional men now. That's not a Black man. When you see these men out here hollering and yelling and screaming and like a woman, that's not the nature of a man. A lot of these young Black men, they think that being a man is being violent and out of control. Absolutely not. The nature of a man is control and domination over your
Thank you.
emotions.
Oh
But
my
you never
goodness.
saw that. And because here's what your mom did. Every time something didn't go her way, she kicked and had a fit and she screamed and yelled and it was emotional. So that's what the Black boy grew up seeing. So he doesn't know how to control his emotions.
Thank you. Keep.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And this is what I tell. I always try to tell people, Black. Any single mother, it doesn't even got to be Black. Regardless, a single mother is going
Right.
to coach a boy up to be what they wanted their man to be, or what they feel like
Yes.
they
What
wanted
they
their man
think
to be.
a
So
man
they
should
teach.
be.
Thank you. And so they teach these young men to be overly emotional. They don't teach them any responsibility. And then they wonder why they end up in prison, because when they got in trouble in school, you went and yelled at the principal instead of yelling at the boy. Instead of telling him,
Absolutely.
instead
Yep.
of disciplining him and telling him where he was wrong, you went up to the school and you yelled at the principal, and that told the boy, I could do no wrong. So he kept doing mischievous things and getting away with it because his mama was there to protect him
Because
all the
that's your
time. So when
baby.
he,
That's your baby. And see, that's a woman for you. And the thing about it is, there is a place for that. But when that woman does not have a man, because what a man will do, he'll step in and he'll check that. And he'll come to
thank
school
you.
and say, hey, what was my child doing? What was he doing? He's going to check that. But a woman, because we're mama bears, which there's a place for that. We want to protect our babies. We want to protect our babies, but we need a man over us because we want to protect our babies, but your baby's been cutting up.
Right. And
Bullying kids and stuff like that. You're not supposed to protect your baby then. You need to discipline. And so that's where a man
thank
is
you.
necessary.
And
Right.
that's why I always tell people too, when a father isn't appreciated until you're an adult. A lot of the times, because mom is there to bandage you up when you slip and fall. She's there because of the empathy, and this is a good thing. It's natural. It's a
Yes,
good
that's
thing,
our
but you need
purpose. Yes.
the masculine energy to balance that out, because and a lot of times the men aren't respected until you get to a certain age and you realize, okay, when I did this wrong and my dad spanked me or whooped me or told me to go do my homework instead of going outside and being in the streets and this and that. You don't, at the moment, in the immediate moment, you feel like, oh, why is he doing this to me? Why is this happening to me? But once you get older and you see everybody else lives falling apart and you realize, oh, my life is still intact because I followed the rules that my dad set in place when I was a
That's
child.
right.
And,
That's
and a
right.
lot of times that goes unappreciated until they're older, but it needs to be appreciated. It's a necessary role that man, I'm happy you talking about that. And I do want to talk a little bit about how women are giving away a lot of their power. Like they feel like this, what they're doing now, this road that they're taking is going to quote unquote empower women. But women have been power. You can literally reap the benefits of war without having to lift a finger as a woman.
Absolutely.
And how much more power do you need? That's the most powerful position. And in a video, I compared this kind of behavior to what is a wolf and a dog. Okay. I said the wolves, they were a little bit more reluctant. They were a little bit more antisocial. They wanted to compete with human beings. They wanted to compete with men for territory. While dogs said, hey, we can't beat them. Dogs were more social, so they came around and they said, hey, I can use humans to survive for longer. So when you look at who's prospering more, you're seeing that although the wolves may seem a little bit more independent, a little bit more rough, and you may salute to that, you see that the dogs are actually prospering more because they've allowed for somebody to take the lead and make sacrifices on their behalf. You know what you get where I'm going with that in terms of how that can be comparable to women's situation currently?
In comparison to women, yes, I do see that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I mean, why would you give away your natural ability, like the ability to just be vulnerable, that natural? Why would you even want to give that away?
You know what I think it is? I think what it is, a woman's mind is very confused. A woman's mind is very confused. And so when we say, the man is the head, I mean, we understand this. Any company, there has to be one CEO, right? There has to be a CEO, and then you have different levels and different people. The problem with a woman, we think that because we're not the CEO, we're not the supervisor, we think that our role is less important. And it's not. Our role is just as important, but no, we're not the CEO. And that's okay. But what else do you expect from a female's mind? We don't understand logical things a lot of times because we base everything off of emotions. And so emotionally we feel, well, I want to be in front. I want to be the head and da, 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 da. And I get that, but our role is very important if we stay in it.
Right.
Right. But when we try to venture out and try to be like the man, that's when things tend to fall apart. So like for the women, your role as a woman, not side by side with your men, not side by side with your husband, but he is the head over you. But your role is very essential. But when we aren't in our role, again, you see what happens.
Right.
Yeah, and so and so let me make it clear. We're talking about Black women because we're Black, but understand the feminist movement that was created by white women. That was not
Let's
for
go.
us.
Let's
That
go.
was
Get
not
into
for us.
it.
So don't think I'm saying, oh, we need to worship the white. Not by any means. The white woman, she and again, I'm not racist. I'm not saying this. I'm just speaking real. The white woman, she's the one that engineered all of this. But unfortunately, us Black women, we just fell right into it. And it's destroyed us because, again, remember what we talked about when we first started? Again, the Black woman envies the white woman. So
Wow.
that's why we took on their struggle. And look at us now because of that. The white woman, and oh man, this is going to sound racist. I'm not racist. I'm really not.
No, keep
Okay,
just please keep it
I
coming.
know.
Keep it because
I'm
we
trying. Okay.
because we talk about a lot of these things, but coming from a woman, especially a feminine woman, this is so important. I want you to keep what you have in your head right now, but this is very important because a lot of the voices that are on YouTube or on platforms that other women get to hear are very masculine women, because traditionally speaking, the feminine women don't want to be outspoken. They don't want platforms. They don't want to combat against men.
And
Go
so
ahead.
that was the thing. I remember the last time I was on your show, you're like, "Don't you want your own platform?" It's like, not really. I'm kind of, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I work, and so that, that's another thing. But I do understand that this needs to be said, and so I understand that. But actually, no, I'm kind of good in my little world here. But I do understand this. The truth needs to be spoken. And so basically, so I want people that are thinking, "Oh, she's hating Black women and she hates herself and all these things." Absolutely not. The feminist movement was a white woman's movement. The white
You can look
woman,
that up.
What's that?
I said you can Google that. That's the thing. They'll get upset
That
about
was her
facts.
movement.
That's a
Like I
fact.
said, all women are the same. I'm not saying that we're the same. It's just it manifests itself differently. The white woman was not happy with her role, very unsatisfied, and so she created this feminist movement. Unfortunately, the Black community were easily manipulated, and so we jumped on a movement and a battle that was not ours. And so
We do it all the
unfortunately,
time.
we
I
do
mean,
it all the time.
when you look at what happened to us after the civil rights movement, I believe the civil rights movement got too powerful and it was scary. So we had to get separated, and we did successfully. But one of the things that's going on right now is we have Black women fighting for everybody except for Black people. They're going on, they're talking about, and I don't have anything against these communities. They're going on, they're talking about LGBTQ. They're going on, they're talking about Asian hate. They're going on, they're talking about women's issues.
Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say this. Oh man, I don't want to get your channel flagged. I'm scared to get your channel flagged. But if you want to really get to the truth, and I'm about to hurt some feelings right now, the Black Lives Matter movement, led by who?
Oh, we've spoken about our opinions on some of these topics.
Okay.
So
The Black Lives Matter movement are women, because we want to put them at the head. They said the Black Lives Matter movement was about the Black man and protecting the black man. This is where I get almost angry. That was bull crap. The Black Lives Matter movement was started, led, and continued by, oh boy, it's just a fact, lesbian Black women. Their agenda was not to uplift the Black family unit. That was not their intentions at all. But because the Black female is so adamant and so boisterous about her beliefs, that she pushed this agenda, had nothing to do with building up the family unit. And if you went to their website, and I did before they changed it, before they were uncovered, not only were they not about the Black family unit with the man being the head, they believed in communal family, where the community raised the kids and all these different things. They were about the destruction of the Black family unit and the destruction of the Black man, the Black heterosexual male. But because the Black community is so easily manipulated, we fell for it because that group had a good title. Black Lives Matter sounds about right. So let's get behind this. Now,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm going to continue.
Who is it that the Black Lives Matter group lifted up? You had people. Oh, this is gonna be. Oh, I'm scared to say this.
Keep warming up, because I'm following you, and I can jump in at any moment, because we on the same page, and I'm happy we got this chemistry, because I could go off too, but I'll need you to keep doing it, because I love hearing this coming from a woman, because I thought that this was just me thinking these things. But go ahead.
So essentially, what would happen is there would be a case that came out. Some Black man that was in trouble with the law, and things happen. And the reality of it is, every other race knows this. When you choose a life of crime, when you do certain things, and where the law is in your life, anything can happen. You don't know, because when you choose that lifestyle, it's not stable. So what happens is, you'd have a young man get in trouble with the law, things happen, they were killed by the police. So what the Black Lives Matter did, was they exalted those men. No other race does that but us. They had, I'm going to touch this and then we can leave it really quick, because I know a lot of people are not going to like this one. But we had George Floyd up there with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. We had put him up with them. Okay? Black women did this. Black Lives Matter did this. Let's not talk about the many black doctors, the black male doctors. We don't want to put them up. We don't want to put the black male. And well, I don't want to say where I am, but where I am, there's plenty of black doctors, black dentists. I know personally many black engineers, black male engineers, black male business owners. We don't want to put them up and exalt them. See, the black woman, because of her envy, because of her penis envy, she wants to put the black male criminal up and put him up. See, that's how backwards the mind of a woman is. And so, unfortunately, because we're a matriarchy, we went right along with it. And we applauded that. How dare you mar the image of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and put him on par with a man like George Floyd? What happened to him was terrible. You know, it's horrible. It is what it is. But when you're in a criminal life, criminal things happen to you.
And here's the thing. I'm in Minneapolis now. You know, I'm from Minnesota, so I'm in Minneapolis now.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that we don't want to talk about. This doesn't mean I'm on either side. I'm really more middle. I'm for whoever gives black folks the whatever they're gonna give us. That's where my vote is going. Okay, so if somebody gives us something or says they have this to offer to the black community, that's where my vote goes. I don't go for the okie doke. I'm not choosing Democrat just because it's cool to choose Democrat, and everybody in our community say that, and they say if you don't choose Democrat, you're Uncle Tom or this.
Well, you already know I've already told you I've lost everybody in my family because of my beliefs. So. Yeah.
And this is the thing. Like, people look at a $20 super chat and they go, "Oh, you're doing it big. You're just saying this stuff just so you can make." I'm like, do you understand the repercussions that saying these ideas have for black people? Like, if I even say something like, "How in the world?" With considering everything that the Democrats have done against black folks and how a lot of their policies have worked not in our favor, we still have. What is it? 95% of black women voting Democrat. What's the?
Yep.
95% of ill.
The unfortunate part is a lot of black people don't know history. The party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, all those things. That was the Democrat Party.
Thank you.
They are here to deceive us and to keep us deceived and to keep us on that plantation. And if you dare attempt to leave that plantation, the ones that are still left are controlled in their mind. I'm a woman, but I've been called Uncle Tom, bed wench, every word in the book. But here's the thing about it is, oh, you must hate yourself. No, I love myself and I love the way God created me. And I know that black people, when we're left to our own vices, we can be a powerful and beautiful people. But unfortunately, we are easily deceived. We want the okay. That's
what they do every single election, Nyla. That's what they do every election, every single. And let me just say this quick. Historically speaking, I don't know if people have noticed this, but black men, especially black men, are very working class people.
Absolutely.
Okay. Historically speaking, we have worked very hard to pull ourselves up. We've gotten knocked down. We've pulled ourselves back up. We've gotten knocked down, and we've pulled ourselves. And this is what we've continued to do. Now we're supposed to understand this rhetoric. Now we're supposed to believe in this rhetoric that of white supremacy and we can't do anything because of white supremacy. And now we're supposed to join the Democratic Party so that they can help us go against white people and get reparations. And they want us to join a party that expects people who have oppressed us to help us. Me personally, I've never gotten that. Like, that hasn't made sense to me.
They want to keep us in a position of submission. They want to keep us feeling as like we're oppressed, that we're victims. And let me say this. Okay. Oh boy. Even if you are a victim, let's put this in natural time. Let's say you were a victim. Let's say you're walking down the street, someone beats you over the head, takes your money, and you are a true victim. Here's the thing. Don't be a victim. Being a victim is not going to get you anywhere. Even if it did happen to you, you have to rise above that. And unfortunately, a lot of these Democrats, they want to keep us in a state of victimhood and oppression. I have had conversations with black people and I say, I'm not oppressed. I'm not a victim. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. No, I'm not.
I'm like, how are you going to tell me?
How are you going to tell me that I'm oppressed? How am I oppressed? Let me say this. I know we're kind of going off from women. We'll get back there. We're going to get back.
Yeah,
but
we'll make it.
Listen, the reality of it is There are people all over the world that would almost die to get here. And I know this for a fact because I lived in a state where people were literally giving their lives to get to this country, because this country is very unique. This is the
Thank you.
one place in the world that if you work hard, you do the right things, you save your money, you live beneath your means, you have a family, you can make it in this life. And so people
Can.
will you have people, the Mexicans who are living in California, they would travel through the desert, through the mountains, doing anything to get here because other countries there's not this opportunity. And here we are as Black people, we helped to build this nation. We are letting somebody tell us that we are not Americans. We are Americans, and we are here for this opportunity. Take it.
Thank you.
But we want
Thank you.
people, but we want to stay in this perpetual victimhood, oppressed state. And again, to bring it back to women, that is a female mindset. That is not a male mindset. A male mindset is not about victimhood. It's not. A woman's is. Again, we go back to that phrase, women and children first, because that's what's in us. Women need to be protected and helped. And so that's why the Black community is requiring, demanding help from the government. No, do it on your own. Work hard. Make it happen. We need to get rid of this female feminist mentality in the Black community, because that is not who we are.
Thank you, man. I'm so happy now that you on here saying these things, because and one of the things I tell Black men in particular is you gotta leave the country. If you think that you have it bad here, where are you gonna have it better? And I spent a month in Kenya. I spent the whole month of March in Kenya. I'll tell you now, it's not better. And if you're a woman, if you're a Black woman in particular, you need a man there. It's not.
Yes.
If you are you going to go to China, the place where they were kicking Black people out of hotels because they said that it was the Africans that brought the coronavirus. I don't even know if you can say that word, but you know where I'm going.
Yes.
Brought that into the world. They said that the Africans did it, so they were kicking Black people out of hotels. They're killing the Uyghur people right now.
Wow.
There's a massacre going on in China. They're literally doing a Holocaust right now. No one's talking about it because China has a lot of financial power. I know we're getting into politics a little bit. I'm sorry.
We're gonna get back to women.
We got Hunter Biden. We got 95% of our women are voting for a president whose son is in bed with China. He's worked for a company. He got caught saying the N-word in email or just very recently.
About
in
when he
emails.
was on God, what is that guy's name? The God, something the God.
Charlemagne, is it
Charlemagne
Charlemagne?
the God. And Biden went on there. He legitimately said to our face, "You are not Black if you don't vote for me," and we still voted for him. My
Dummies.
God. My God.
Dummies.
And we still voted for that man.
And I'm not even, and here's the thing, I'm not saying that you have to vote Democrat or Republican or I don't care what you do, but look at the information that's given. Don't just go, oh my gosh, we have the chance to get a Black woman into the office. So 95% of Black women go out and vote for them. That was plotted.
Not even a Black American woman. That's the crazy part about it. And that's all
she's Native American, and she identified as Native American up until she wanted to get into the White House.
Indian. She's an Indian.
Indian. I'm sorry. Was it Indian or Native
she's
American?
An Indian. No, not it's India. Indian. Yeah.
Okay, so Indian. Okay.
Yeah.
She's Indian.
I guess they wanted her in there because that's where they get their hair. So they were like, we want a woman from the place where we get our hair. So, but anyway, we can move. I know if we start going down that rabbit hole.
All right, I'll take it here then. I'll take it here for you. Let's go here. What do you think? How do you think a Black man, say he's like 27, 26, he's just kind of getting his legs under his feet. He's trying to get things going. How do you feel he should go about dating Black women in 2021? Do you have any advice for a man trying to date Black women in 2021?
Man, oh wow. This is a very important question because I have two sons of my own. And so I'm really concerned about what kind of wives that they will be able to get, in this when they become men. And I think I said this on your last show. The main thing for a man, especially a young man, is to focus on their goal. Even at that age, I honestly, these are my sons, and they're 11 and 8, and I'm gonna impress on them to not worry about that. You focus on what you're trying to achieve in this life. And what you need to look for is a woman that's going to jump onto that. Unfortunately, because men are very visual, and sometimes because of this, the deception of women and the things that we do, sometimes you can kind of be thrown off. You know what I mean?
Hair, nails,
Hair, nail,
and
hell,
manipulation
yes.
used to get in
Hair,
the
nails, the boobs out, waist trainers, all these things, and it's very easy to get manipulated and almost it's almost like voodoo sometimes. You know what I mean? Because the way that a woman can be, and that's all fine for fun and games. But when you're thinking about a woman on your team, all I can say is they will come to you. When you focus on what you're trying to do, they will come to you. This is kind of a side topic, but I definitely wanted to touch on this before we end this. And I really hope that men really hear this. One of the worst things that you can do as a man is to become a stepfather. And
Please, hey, Nyla. Hey,
okay.
Nyla.
Oh,
You got to
yeah.
talk about this.
Right.
Please
So
talk
this is
because anytime it
it's
comes from a man,
yeah.
they say it's just you hate women, you don't want to see the community get better. Who's going to take care of these kids if they don't have a that was your responsibility as a mother. But I'm going to let you go ahead and do the
Yeah,
talking
and
cuz
so
we've already talked about it enough.
right. So I want to bring that up because that kind of bleeds into what we're talking about these young men, about the type of women they're going to get. Unfortunately, what a lot of men do, because there's so many single mothers out there, they get with the single mothers because they're very easy. It's easy to get with a single mother because she's desperate, and she's desperate. She's easy. You can jump right in. You don't have to put in a whole lot of work with a single mother. But I'm going to say this: one of the worst things you can do is to get with one. And so, what the women told you men, they said that when you get with us, that you're helping the community and you're doing a good thing. You're helping that poor child that doesn't have a father. You're going to step in and you're going to be the father and you are just helping the community. Gentlemen, you are not helping the community when you sign up to be the father of these women's children. You are not. Here's why. Because what you did when you signed up to be a stepfather, what you did is you made it easy for women to leave their men, because a woman knows I can leave my man. I don't have to step with him because I know some beta simp is going to step in and pick up the pieces. That's what you're doing. Now, I'm saying this because my father was one. Okay? Not just my father, but I know many men that chose this route, and that's the worst
Here,
thing you can do. And here's why.
let me
Okay,
say one thing before
okay,
you say
okay.
why it's the worst thing you can do. I do want you to keep that in your mind.
Right.
We are not in certain situations. I get it. Okay, it's not all. But take the information and do with it what you will. All right. I also was raised. My mom was a single mother, and then she got married to another man who had children himself. So it made a little more sense because both people were bringing
Right, right.
something to
Yes.
the. So we're not saying it's just black and white, this and this and that. If it's up to me, in terms of being strategic in your own life as a man and following your own purpose, this is not something you want to do. Tell them exactly why they should not do this, Nyla. Go ahead.
Well, first,
Tell
let
them.
me say this. I know somebody, well, no, my mama, my stepdaddy was important to me. I get all that. So I'm going to repeat the words of, you ever heard of Jesse Lee Peterson?
Yes, sir.
He,
Yes,
he
ma'am.
says, he says this
Yes.
phrase, and I love it. Not all, not all, not all, but most. So if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But so now that that's being said, if your stepdaddy was the greatest man in the world, then I'm not talking to you. That's fine. There's always exceptions to every rule. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, as human beings, we're animals and we have certain instincts, right?
Right.
Here's what happens when you take on a woman that has another man's child. That woman will never fully respect you. She doesn't understand why she doesn't, but she doesn't. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to break it down for you. Now, the woman's mind, she's not breaking this down. All she knows is she can't respect this man. Here's what happens. Basically, what you're saying is this: that your seed, because a man carries a seed, right? Your seed is not good enough to produce your own legacy. So you're going to take on the legacy of another man, and submit to this woman and build up another man's legacy. Now, the woman's mind doesn't fully grasp this, but all she knows is, I can't respect this man. For whatever reason, I just can't respect him. If you're a man and you respect your male authority, you want your seed to produce your own legacy. Okay? And
I
so
couldn't.
that's now do we cognitively think all this stuff through? No. But like I said, we're animals like anybody else and we have instincts. And so instinctually, a woman knows, man, this man done took all my kids. Something about me just can't respect this man. And I've heard story after story after story of of stepfathers that took on a woman that had another man's children. And I've heard of men that have gotten abused, not just mentally, but physically abused by their woman.
Financially as well, all the time.
Here we go. Financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually abused by women because you made a choice to take on another man's legacy. I need our black men to be built up. Your seed means something. Your seed means something, and you need your woman to respect that. A woman cannot respect you when you take on another man's seed. And we've all heard the story of lions. If a male lion takes over the pride, he's going to kill those cubs.
Gone. They're
That's just
gone
what it
because
is.
that's
And so, yes, the male lion doesn't understand that. It's instinctual, right? So even in us, there's certain things that are instinctual. We don't understand it, but it's instinct. So a woman knows, wow, this man done came in and took me and my kid and this other dude. Wow, I just can't respect this man. She doesn't understand it herself. But all she knows is I can't respect this man. And she's not going to give it to you. I would love to tell the story of my family, but that's a rough one. Maybe I'll save that. But yeah.
okay. Okay. I mean, if you want to tell it, we got time. I
It's
think.
gonna make
I
it's
mean,
gonna make this podcast. I do kind of want to tell it because I think people need to hear this.
there's a lot of people listening right now. Now we got
Uh,
600 people in the live. Make sure y'all hit that like, hit the subscribe button. Nyla does. I am actively helping Nyla get her own channel. She has her channel now, but we're gonna. I'm helping her put some things together behind the scenes so that she can really get this stuff out there. But yeah, I think a lot of people are interested in hearing what you got to say, Nyla. So if
okay.
you want to tell that story, we got
I'm
time.
gonna try to condense it as much as possible. My father, God rest his soul, he's passed on now. He died of stage 4 lung cancer. But I love my father. But I would be a liar if I said that my father wasn't a beta. Okay. Now that being said, my father was a police officer, and he retired from the United States Army. So we have two flags. You know, they give you the flag. We have two flags. My father was an honorable man. You would think that he was an alpha, right? What my father did, God rest his soul, he took my mother with two children, because this was back in the 70s. So all this information, the manosphere, this wasn't out back then. So back then, when you took on a single mother, that was an honorable thing. So my father, again, God rest his soul, he believed that taking my mother with two children was a good thing. But here's how my father's story ended. He took her on. My mother had one other child, and that was me. And I'm a female. So my father's legacy will not be carried on. My mother wouldn't have another
Wow.
child for him. She wouldn't have another
Wow.
child because I was the third child. So she wouldn't have another. So my father's legacy dies, unfortunately, with me because I take on my husband's legacy. Okay. My father stepped in. He worked hard and made a good life. He became a police officer. And now to this day, after his death, my mother, she didn't have to work another day in her life, because that's how well my father provided for her. My mother did not give any inheritance to the children. He wanted to give inheritance to me and his other daughters. She gave us nothing, because that's the nature of a woman. I'm scared to death that my mother might hear this, but it's the truth. Let me say this. Here's how much my mother respected this man that took her and her two children in. When my father died, he requested that if he got to the point where he couldn't survive on equipment, he wanted the plug pulled to end his suffering. My mother didn't do it. She allowed my father to suffer for hours. And watch this, because she didn't want to pull the plug. So my father suffered. If she'd have pulled the plug, he would have lasted a few minutes and he would have been gone. She wouldn't pull the plug. My mother did not die by my father's side. She went home and went to bed. So my father died by himself. So I'm not saying that's every stepfather's legacy, but what I'm saying is it's more common than what we think. My father died believing that his wife was his everything, and this is what she did to him. I'm not alone in this. I know people say, well, Nyla, you're bitter. I'm not alone. Understand, gentlemen, and hear me clearly. When you take on a single mother and become a stepfather, that woman cannot respect you. Now, I can give some other stories about some other people I know. That's just my story. But that is the reality. She can't do it. It's instinctual.
Can you, I mean, do you have time to give a your storytelling abilities? I mean, I'm sure everybody wants to. I mean, you could use not names or you can,
No, I
I
won't use
don't,
his name. I do have a friend of mine that he told me, because I told him I was going on this show. He said, please, use my story to warn, other men. So I'll give this next story. Okay. A good friend of
one
mine.
second, Nyla,
Oh,
before
yes,
you start
yes.
the next story, we have
Okay.
623 people in here.
Okay.
Everybody hit that like button, first of all. Second of all, Nyla, it's Red Fem Diaries, right? Red
Yes,
F.
sir. Well, the
All right,
fem is
can you
spelled.
spell that out for me one more time? I'm
Yes.
going to type it into the chat right now and pin it up to the top.
Okay. So fem is spelled Femme. And if I can break down why I gave myself that name,
Oh,
is
that's
that
fine.
okay?
Yep, that's fine.
The color red, because red represents the red pill movement. I don't know if a lot of people know about that. Yeah, that's it right there. So red, it represents the red pill movement. You know what I mean? And we've all seen. We know where that comes from. That comes from the Matrix. The red pill is about waking up to the truth. So I like red. I also read. I'm not saying I'm an adamant Republican, no, but I do have conservative views. But typically, when you talk about a red state or a blue state, we know what we're talking about when we say red, right?
Yes.
Right. Also
It's
red.
always, yeah, we
And
know.
also red, I am a Christian, doesn't mean I'm holier than thou, but red represents the blood of Christ. So I chose that word red because it represents what I believe. Red pill, red states, red beliefs, red blood of Christ, red as the blood of Christ. I chose femme because femme represents femininity, true femininity, not what do you call this? The feminist movement. No, but I mean true femininity, and I want to really talk about that when we're done. True femininity, excuse me. I had a stuttering problem when I was younger. That's why I get tripped up over words. And diaries, because these are the beliefs that I truly believe. And unfortunately, like I've mentioned several times, I've lost literally everybody in my life besides my husband and my children and my mother, because of my belief, because she's coming around too. And so that's why I called it Red Femme Diaries. Yeah, that's what I came
Can
up with the
you,
name.
okay, that's, I pinned the channel to the top here. So if anybody after the show or whatever it may be, make sure y'all go ahead and give her a sub, man. I think she deserves a sub, and at the very least. Also, let's can we get into that next story of why you believe men shouldn't date single mothers and commit their lives to single mothers. I agree with you, by the way. So I do want you to go ahead and tell that next story.
Okay, so the next, what we need to give him a name, right? Let's call him Bob.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's kind of silly, but nah, that's kind of silly. Let's not give him Bob. Give him a name. You give him a name. I don't know. Bob is kind of silly.
Oh, you can
Got
give him
uh
call him Chris. That's
Chris.
fine.
Okay, so Chris. We call him Chris. And like I said, Chris wanted me to share this story with you all because of what he's going through. What happened with him was Chris, he ended up he had a high school sweetheart, and they were together. She went off and she had a baby, a daughter, by another man. But Chris decided, for whatever reason, later on, that he would take her on as a wife, okay,
Mm.
with that daughter. And so after they had that daughter, they ended up having four more children, two daughters and then a set of twins, a boy and a girl. uh Chris's wife, like I said before, does not respect him. I've heard it myself. She verbally abuses him in front of the children. She has cursed him out, called him. I'm very careful with my language. She's called him a bitch. Everything in the book. She's put hands on him. Here's the problem. Because of that beta male mentality, After she's put his hands on him, a lot of what you men do, he had the opportunity to call the police and put her in jail, but because you guys unfortunately sent to us, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't press charges. So a lot of you men out there, I know somebody's hearing me right now, when your woman puts hands on you, y'all don't hardly ever want to press charges because you don't want your woman in jail. That's a bad thing, because what you just did, you taught your woman that she can put her hands on you and you're not going to do a doggone thing about it.
Right.
And so because of that, his woman is completely out of control. This man is being, now this man I'm talking about, this is an engineer. Remember I told you that we have black everything. He's one of the few black engineers in this country. He provides fully for his family, her daughter from another man, plus his children. He does all of these things. This woman does not clean the house. She doesn't cook, doesn't clean, doesn't do anything. She puts her hands on him. And this is what I'm saying. My story is not alone. I know many men that are going through this. You're living with a woman. She doesn't want to clean up. She doesn't want to do her role. She doesn't want to submit, and you're living like this. I know they're out there. I know you
Yeah.
guys are out there. You're
And
dealing with
this,
this.
and Nyla, women don't like to understand it, and I mean, they don't like to understand the fact that they are truly alive because at the mercy of men. And I know
Absolutely.
that's taboo to say. I know you know we don't we
It's
don't like to
true.
talk about that. But if we're completely honest, and men, we have a social contract amongst each other. I understand that if I go into a bar and I get loud with a man, it can get physical. So with the exception of a few knuckleheads or a few people that have friends around them, so they get extra brave, we tend to not do that because we have that respect, right? But a lot of times you see women, you go into the bar, you see a woman splashing a drink in a man's face, hitting on him, this and that, and the man doesn't even know how to respond because
Yes. And so
we
that's another thing I really want to put out there. Oh man, my heart really goes out to you men, because you men think it's honorable when you let a man, like you said, throw the drink in your face, hit you, punch you, scratch you, do all these things, and you just don't do anything. What needs to happen, what I pray happens, you need to start holding these women accountable. When a woman puts her hands on you, you call the authorities, and when you call the authorities, you let her sit in that cell, because women are not being held accountable. That's the problem. So that's why you have so many women that are out here out of control, because y'all just aren't doing. Well, I don't want my woman to be up in jail. I don't want her to do this. I don't want her to do that. Stop. Hold her accountable. You men do not deserve abuse. The fact of the matter is, a woman knows when she puts her hands on you, 9.999 times out of 10, y'all men can put some serious damage on a woman. But a woman's mind, we know that you're not going to do nothing. So
we
that's
know.
why we strike out.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And that's why I have a specific distaste for women who think that they can fight men. And I'm like, do
Oh
you understand you
man.
are alive at the mercy? At the mercy that a
Oh,
man, when you act up like that, that a man doesn't just lash out. Because we have a social contract, us men. We understand that if we do that,
we
we
can
are the
hurt
ones
you.
that are
We can hurt
responsible
us.
because we
Right.
are always held accountable.
Yes.
Now, regardless, but people like to say, oh, black men haven't been held accountable. This not
Yes,
true.
you
We
are.
have
Right.
men have always been held accountable for the things we do. A lot of times women get that leeway and they start thinking it's sweet, and man, it's sad to see that. And
We have.
it's only because they understand that there's protection in place for them. They understand that they can do it because there's not much a man can do back to them. That's the only reason they act that way. If men at large were just, if every man that got hit by a woman hit them back, that wouldn't be a
Man.
thing. I guarantee it.
We have sunk into such a low depth that I have seen, like on social media, not my own personal life, but I have seen women threaten men. Hit me, hit me, hit me. Come on, hit me. Oh, and here, and we're going to go back to where we first started. We're going to go full circle. Remember, we talked about the lies and deceit in a woman's mind. In a woman's mind, she really believes that I can fight this man. She thinks that, because the reality of it is, you can't fight him. You're going to call the police. You know what I mean? You're going to cry. You're going to do all these things. But in a woman's warped, confused, childlike mind, she thinks that she can fight this 6 foot tall, muscle bound man. That's why a woman needs to be kept into in strict submission to male authority. Because if we're not, this is what we see. We see 5'3" 110 pound soaking wet woman trying to go up against a 6 foot tall muscle bound man and thinking she can really beat him, because that is how sick and warped and confused a woman's mind is. We need to stop this.
This is probably the best live I've ever done. And you really blessed us, because this message from a woman is so good to hear. It's refreshing, truly, because you understand a lot of these things that women just seem to not get, and maybe it's because
they're
they
not
think
going to get it. They're not. This is what I'm trying to really just put out there. A woman is not going to. I know y'all want us to get it. Here's the thing. God bless you, man. Y'all so want women to be logical, don't you? You guys want to
be
present.
nice.
You guys
It sure
want
would
to
be nice.
present the facts, the evidence, the data, and you want to show women the facts, and you want us to understand. It's not going to happen. What you need to do is you need to take control over a woman the same way that you do a child. And someone's going to say, because of the things I said about my mother, well, she's just doing that because she's bitter. But remember what I told you before. What do I do for a living? I work with women and women only. And so the only way I'm able to keep control in my job, my female patients, all I deal with is 100% female patients. And the only way I'm able to get my job done peacefully is I take control from the minute I see them. I take control over them. I shut them down. I don't let them talk. I take control. That way I can do my job. This is how I know so much about what I know, because I've dealt with women for so long. They have to be controlled like children. I don't want to say like dogs, because people don't want to, hear that. So I'll just say children. They have to be kept under control. And let me tell you this, and I promise you, they're happier for it. Women are happier,
and I'm happy you just said that, because so many times, like, women will say they want this guy that allows them to do this and this and that.
They don't know any better.
What they do, they keep pushing the envelope until they step on you. Once they find out they can step on you, it's over for you. You're dead. Women do not want what they say they want a lot of the times in a man. They don't want these guys until you're about like 30, 35, and you slow down a little bit, you understand what's actually important in a man. That's kind of when you start going, I want a guy that can provide for me, protect, and you start to understand that a little bit more. But early on, these women be saying they want this kind of guy, and then they go and have sex and get pregnant by the very opposite of what they say they want. And it's because they're happy. Women seem, and I'm not a woman, so you've said it yourself, but it appears to be that women are truly happier when a man is the dominant one in the relationship, when a man gets to make the final decisions in the relationship. That doesn't mean you gotta be a dictator. That don't mean you don't listen to what your woman have to say. Because my wife in particular, let's just give an example here. I had a couple, everybody drink, I had a couple. And I didn't have too many. I never get to the point where I'm falling. I never get bad, but I heard a conversation and I felt like I wanted to jump on the live. My wife told me, don't do that, okay? Because this is just not a good decision. Me hearing her and hearing her, although I get the final say of what goes on in our relationship or what happens, I respect her for her, her opinions and what she got to say. So a lot of times when we say a man is the final, he's the head and he's going to lead the conversation, women hear that and they say, that means I got to be a maid, I got to be a slave, this and this and that. No, that's not what it means at all. Your opinion is valued, but since men think more on logic, he's going to be more likely to get you the results that you want. Absolutely. In your life.
And I will compare this to a major company, and I won't say where I work, but I work for a major company, a Fortune 500 company. And so the way it works is our company has a CEO, we have a COO, a CFO, we have all these things. But you know what we do? We have meetings. And so sometimes we have meetings with the lower people, and they allow us to express our desires and how we want the company to go. And our CEO, he listens to that. And he takes it into consideration. And it's the same way when you're running a household. At the end of the day, the man is the CEO. And as a woman, we give our input, and it works that way in my household. I give my husband input and he respects my opinion and he takes it in consideration. But at the end of the day, he is the final say so. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. And unfortunately, what women don't understand, do you know how much weight that takes off of our shoulders?
Right. And that's one of the things that women didn't understand. They said that, and I mean, it's true. Some of them do, but they said they wanted this and they said they wanted that. But when they were given the responsibility, you
You
found
can't
out that they actually want to
handle
blame everybody for their bad decisions.
it.
And the
Right.
truth of the matter is this: it's hard to be in control of your life. And that's why a lot of people want to hear the rhetoric that black people can't help themselves and this is that. Because when you realize you have the ability to help yourself, you realize you have to look in the mirror and you're responsible
Yes.
for where you are in your
Yep.
life. People don't want that because you
No.
have to then take control of your life. It's easy to be told what to do all day. And that's why a lot of people are comfortable and I mean this goes another, but a lot of people get very, very comfortable and just regular 9 to 5s and they don't want to go out and do their own thing sometimes because it's easier to just have somebody tell you what to do than it is to make your own decisions and have to deal with the consequences of those decisions. Like that's just the facts of it.
And the thing about it is, I don't want to put down, a 9 to 5 person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to put that down. But here's the thing, like you're saying, now this goes, beyond race, but a lot of people, it's very easy to have someone else step in and have control over your life. For black people in particular, unfortunately, that's why we have these debates about reparations, these things, because we like the idea of the government coming in and helping us and doing this for us. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna say this, I don't want no reparations. I don't want that.
no.
I have control of my own life. I'm gonna say this. This is going on into politics, but we'll go there and we'll leave. We've all been to the DMV, right? Sorry, that's my dog. If you heard that shaking. Does anybody like going to the DMV? Who is like, oh yay, I'm going to the DMV? The
Right.
the DMV is a government ran organization, right? But yet somehow we want the government to come in and control our lives. We want the government to control our health care. So every time you go to the doctor, it's going to be like going to the DMV. You don't want the government in control of your life. And so I think that black people in general, we're afraid to take control of our own lives. We like the idea of government handouts, government helping us. I'm all about no. I want to control my own life, but we need to stop being afraid to control our own lives. It's kind of
Bingo.
like when slavery first ended. You had two different types of slaves, right?
Bingo.
You
Oh, go
had
talk
okay,
to
so
him.
so slavery ended. You have some now you have like the ones like Harriet Tubman, the ones she led. They were like, I am not trying to be a slave. I want to get up out of here. I want to go up north, and I want freedom. I want autonomy. I want to do my thing. But you have some slaves that didn't want to leave the plantation. And what was that saying? I don't remember who said this, but I think they said that she said, I don't know if it's true or not, that she could have freed so many more slaves if they knew that they were enslaved. And
Right.
that's the thing. Some people are not trying to leave the plantation. They like the idea of masses. God, I'm losing my words. The master's covering
Just
what
I
I
see.
can't
I know exactly
I
where you.
can't
I
think
get
of
where
what
you're
I'm
going.
saying.
They like for him to have the authority because it makes it
Yes,
easier.
they liked his covering. They liked what he can do. But that the real person, they were like, I don't want masses. You know what I mean? Authority over. I want to live my own life. I
Right.
want to be free. So I would like give me liberty or give me death. I want
And
to go up north. And so they
right.
followed her and they got up north because they wanted freedom. But there's so many blacks right now that are still on that plantation. They still looking for reparations. They still looking for a handout. There's still
And
a lot of black
and
men
this
out
is
here right
and
now.
this
Yeah, okay.
this is full circle to allowing women to lead
Yes,
your culture. That is a very
yes,
feminine mindset. You don't
very.
understand that when people give you things, they're going to control what happens in your life. You
Yes,
think the government just going to give you health care and all these
man,
this a check every
man,
month, and that's socialism.
man.
Once they do that, they're going to
Yes.
then control what you can do. Now you can't go to McDonald's and have that burger you want.
No, you
All right,
can't. No,
because
you
now
can't.
it's on the whole government's health care. Now
And
they
because
control what you eat,
and
and,
because
and so it's like
mhm.
people just don't get this concept, and it's very, very feminine and that's my biggest problem with the Democratic Party. Me personally is because a lot of a lot of what it's based behind now is who's mostly oppressed and how can we give them free things from the government.
We
And
are
for me, I
in
don't
the
think that that's what
oppression
black people need
Olympics
right
right
now. Just me
now.
personally, just that's right now.
We
But
are in the oppression Olympics. Who can be more oppressed? Who can be the most victim? And listen, this all goes, listen, history repeats itself. Everything comes full circle. It goes back to that old proverb that you heard. You give a man a fish, or you teach him to fish, right? If you give a man a fish, you feed him for that one day. But if you teach him to fish, he can feed himself for a
Right.
lifetime. No one comes into this life entitled to anything. And so again, this is going to go back to that woman's mindset, a very entitled mindset. Going back again to that women and children first. I'm a woman. I'm entitled. No, you're not. Nobody owes you. You come into this earth not entitled. Okay? You don't deserve anything. If you get anything in this life, praise the Lord, but you're not entitled to nothing. And so, okay, I'm kind of going off topic, but let me just say this point because it's in my head right now. So remember how we were talking earlier about how black women have this, they created the white standard of beauty. They did, right? So
Right.
here's my thing. We have in our minds as black people that white people are just living these perfect lives. And I'm saying this, I've been around white people. They have problems too. Everybody got problems. And they come in different levels. And I'm about to blow your mind if you're ready for this.
I'm all ears. I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm just like, so much of what you're saying, I say it. I think it comes different off of a woman. I think that's great for both perspectives, and I'm happy that there's a woman saying this because other women and men alike need to hear this coming from a woman. And like, yeah, bro, if you want handouts, that's seen as weakness. Okay,
it's
from women
weak.
too.
That's a woman needs a woman needs help. We do, because we're weaker. We need help. I need a man because physically I'm just not strong enough. I need a man, and it's okay. But what I'm saying is this: there's so many people born in this life with so many different problems and issues. There are people born in this life with physical disabilities. There's certain people that are born mentally disabled, physically disabled, all of
Bingo.
these different things. We're not entitled to anything. If you're
Bingo.
born on this earth and you have a healthy body and a healthy mind, then you have an advantage. You have a privilege. We have this word called white privilege. Excuse me. Please forgive me. I get tongue tied sometimes.
No,
Um,
you all right. We got
yeah,
all night.
yeah. Sometimes I used to stutter when I was little, so I struggle with it sometimes. But we have this word called white privilege. That is bull crap. If you are born into this world, and if you are healthy and able-bodied, and if you're on top of that born in the United States, guess what? You're privileged. Even
People don't
if you're
understand,
black.
and that's why I say travel, because they don't understand that just living in America, we can look, listen to you. We have fat homeless people, like
That's
people. We
insane.
have you can drink your bath water here. I mean, it's not good. It doesn't taste. You might get some fluoride
But
in
you
you,
can.
right? It's not great. But
Yes.
these are the privilege. If you are here and you have a house and a car, you're within the top 5% richest people in the planet. So
Hello.
it's,
Hello.
so just being here is such a and I want to put this up because this is the mentality that I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it quick. It might have escaped me a little bit here. One second.
No worries.
It was from Adrian, and he's saying that nah, they dropped bombs on Black Wall Street in Tulsa.
Oh,
I
geez. Here
want
we go.
reparations. Here's the thing.
Here we
Here's
go.
here,
Here we
Adrian.
go.
This is just specifically for you. I get it. Okay,
Wow.
we've had it hard. I get it. We've had it hard. This is what I say all the time. But you expect the people that bombed Tulsa to give you something. You get where I'm going? Like, you expect the people, you're talking about atrocities, and you're going to stay stagnant because you expect them to give you something. They can, and it's nice when we give reparations to like Asian Americans, and other people have gotten reparations, and I believe it would be right for African Americans to get that too because
It
of the
ain't gonna
suffering. I get it,
happen.
but I'm not expecting that, and I'm not waiting on it. I'm not going to tell my daughter I can't get her braces because the white man gave me my reparations yet. I'm not doing it. I'm
Can
going
I
to go out
tell
and get
you
my
how
own.
I see it? Can I tell you how I see it, Mr. Poor Man? I call you
Go
Mr. Poor
ahead.
Man. Here's the way I see it. My ancestors, were brought over here, and here's the thing: they tend to think that we were just stolen up out of Africa. That's not what's happened. Our ancestors sold us. Okay, make that clear. Number one. And so who was his name? Adrian. He
Yeah, it was,
he
yeah.
he
Adrian.
he believes he deserves these reparations. Let me explain to Mr. Adrian. You're not going to get those reparations. What they do is they hold that thought of reparations over your head like a carrot, and they have you following after reparations when you can be taking full advantage of all the opportunities here in America. Instead of that, you're waiting for these reparations. So while you're waiting for reparations, guess what's happening? Jose, he's building a construction business. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know the Asian names, but
Vietnamese.
Lee,
I think the Vietnamese in this country own
okay,
about. I think they have about. They run about 80% of the nail salon. Vietnamese, and this is
hello,
specific to Vietnamese. They own about
yes,
80% of the nail salons in
yes,
America.
sir. While we're
That's
sitting
because they make
around,
those and they bring their people. I seen a
hello,
Hispanic man when I was in California because I went to I played rugby, so I was there at the Olympic Training Center down in Chula Vista, California. I seen a man, he couldn't speak a lick of
yes,
English. He had a line wrapped around Walmart selling the elotes, the Mexican
hello,
corn.
oh
He
yes,
had a little car. All he had was a little cart, a little mayo, a little, whatever paprika, whatever the salt, whatever the stuff you put on. That's all he had. But he
yes.
had, and I'm like, he's charging $8 per whatever
He's
minus
making
cost. He's
profit.
probably pocketing about $4 per, and he has a line wrapped around this building.
So what the
And I'm like,
liberals do, and you can't blame them completely because we fall for this. What they do is they keep us like, what was the brother's name again? Andre or uh uh
Adrian.
Adrian. So what brothers like Adrian do, they want to sit around and wait for some reparations. Now, mind you, not a black person alive today has picked a lick of cotton for free as a slave. Not a bit of cotton as a free. But we want to sit around and wait for reparations while the Hispanics, the Asians, everybody comes over here and takes advantage of what our ancestors built. Help to build. We want to sit around and let them come in and take over. Now, I'm getting excited. Let me calm down. But I'm from California, and I watched the illegals come in and take over and run the black communities out while we're sitting there with our hands out waiting for something to be given to us. Let's just say we deserved it. That's fine. You're not going to get it. What they've done is they've held that over our head as that carrot that we're not going to get to win our vote. And people like Adrian keep falling for it. Get over it, my brother. Start your business. Take advantage of the opportunities you have in this country that your forefathers helped to build. Take advantage. We were born here. We are Americans like anybody else. Take advantage. The liberals want to tell you that you are not an American, that you're not entitled. We absolutely are. And how I know? Because there are black millionaires and billionaires, and we can take full advantage. Stop waiting for the handout, brothers
Right.
and sisters. Stop.
Regardless of how much people dislike you because of your color, they like the color green a little more than they dislike you. So
Exactly.
they'll work with
Everybody
you if you
likes
provide
green.
value. Best believe.
Everybody likes green. Everybody. That's right. There's no victims. And I will say this, even if you are a victim, I've said this to a friend of mine. Let's say you are a victim. Did I say this already? I don't want to repeat myself.
No,
But
you can. I mean, say whatever you want to
right,
say.
I
You
might
can.
be repeating myself, but like I said, even if you are truly a victim, you're walking down the street, minding your business, and they jump you. They jump you, they beat you, they take your money, they leave you bloodied and battered on the side of the road. That's a true victim, right? What I'm saying is, even that person who deserves to be a victim, do not be one. Because being a victim is not going to help you. Brothers and sisters, listen and hear my voice. Being a victim will not help you. You don't be a victim, be a survivor. And that's what we are as descendants of slaves here. We are victors. Stop being a victim. I don't want the reparations because I don't need it. I don't need it. I have full right to start a business. I can work hard. I can go to school. I can do it. Please, you are being manipulated by that. I'm sorry, I'm getting too intense. So let me calm down a little bit.
No, I'm listening to everything you're saying,
Because
and
I
I
love
just
the thing about it
you
is
just see me just nodding my head in agreement.
it's difficult because I've been shunned by so many people because of what I believe, and they think that I hate my race and they hate myself, and I don't. I love us, and I see so much, because we had potential back when we were at our worst. We had the highest employment rates, the highest marriage rates at like you said, the height of the Jim Crow, right after slavery, and we've fallen and sunken so low because we have been manipulated. Stop. Stop. We are strong people. We are a beautiful people. And Black women coming full circle to our hair. And I know it's like, what hair? Why are we talking about hair? This is how God created us. And so let me just say this real quick. I don't want to get religious, but what I'm saying is, whatever your belief is, whoever you believe your creator is, the awesome thing about is he made us all unique. He gave Asians them slanted eyes. Their eyes so slanted sometimes you don't even know if their eyes are open, right? But how amazing that is. He made white people. He put a lot of variability in white people. They got all kinds of colors of hair and eyes. He gave Black people this deep, rich melanin, and yes, this kinky hair. No, our hair is not silky, but he made our hair unique so we can do special things with that. How about we all embrace what God created us to be? And it's okay if all society thinks that white is better or more beautiful. Who cares? God made you beautiful and you unique. So you embrace that. Even if you don't like it, embrace it. It's what you are.
Right.
And I wish that we would have more love for ourselves. And anyway, sorry, I don't mean to, get all weird.
Nyla, I can open we're at about an hour and a half. I know
Wow,
you got
right?
stuff to. I can open this thing up. I can open this thing up for callers, and we can have some people on. Or how do you feel? Do you want to continue?
Well,
Do you want to?
I'm a little nervous because, as you know, I'll be very honest. Yes, I speak boldly, but I'm very introverted, and so because of my history and losing so many people, it's a little difficult. If the audience wants to open up and come on, and then sure, absolutely.
I will be sure that if it goes that way, you'll be all right. Because I'll be here too. I'll be here with you.
And
so,
as a woman, I am absolutely cool with you doing that.
All right. Anybody want to hop in? Let's go ahead with the. I'm gonna pin this up. Anybody want to come in, ask Nyla some questions? She has some interesting stuff to say. If you didn't hear it, you lost in the sauce, man. Keep listening, I guess. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. I will be tagging her channel in this video. I'll put a link to her channel in the description when this is all said and done. Make sure y'all go subscribe to her. But we got Leo in the building. I've seen Leo before. What's up, Leo?
What's going on, brother?
Good. We hanging in there. Did you hear the show?
Man, every bit of it. I got at least 50 warriors in here. Y'all need to be spamming up here. I know Leo in the chat. Let him know that I've been doing work. So, but here's the deal, guys. This is why I got everybody here. I wanted you guys to really get the information that I teach on a regular basis, what Poor Man does on a regular basis, and I've been utilizing his platform as mine. People be like, "What's your podcast?" I'm like, It's Poor Man's Podcast on YouTube. The reason why I'm doing that because I'm smart. I'm networking. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get him to where he needs to be. I'm in touch with the brother. Okay, cool. All right, appreciate y'all. Come on. All right, come on, man. It's got to be at least 50 of y'all. Come on. Come on. Where the women at? Come on. Yeah. So listen. So I'm networking. So that I'm doing that. But y'all, if y'all hearing it from her, I speak this in my live, and I've told you guys that that's their nature. They are the way they are, and we have to look at it like this. We don't look at a crocodile or anything that's in the wild and say, "Oh, they're bad because they do that." They're not bad. That's just their nature. Y'all gotta be able to distinguish the difference. Their nature is not bad. If you want to see it like that, then that's on you. But I see it as if we don't step up as men, we're going to lose. We're going to lose because they are now stepping into positions to where they think that they can fend for themselves, and they have no idea that the very platforms that they're complaining about men on is been built by men, and everything that you will not be able to maintain your quality of life, the quality of life that you have today, if men were wiped off the planet. But it's hard for me to say, but I wanted you guys to hear it from Nyla. So I do have a question, Nyla. I do want to ask you this. And before that question, I want to say you have a responsibility. We're tired as men. I'm tired of the elder women pushing off this responsibility of getting the women that come after you right. I really need you on this. I really need you to continue to work with us. And I know that you're very humble, but we need you, Nyla. We really do.
Thank you.
So here's my question. My question is, let's see, how do I start? Well, I truly just want to know, do you think that women could turn, because there's a lot of women that were saying that they agree with you, but they don't agree with the part that you're saying that we can't turn this ship around. I agree with you. I don't think we can turn it around, but I'm willing to die on my shield, right? But why do you say we can't turn it around? All the women were agreeing with you in the comment section of that the last video that you did, but they didn't agree on the fact that you said we can't turn it around. Why do you say we can't turn it around?
Oh boy, you asked a difficult question. And so this is where I don't want to go too religious,
Okay.
but there are certain things that are prophetic, okay, and certain things have to take place. Man, this is, you asked a tough one. Certain things are prophetic, and I say this, and I said this the last show that I was on with the poor man. Even if you don't think, I don't believe that this can be turned around, but even if you believe it can, or whether it can't be, at the end of the day, you strive for what is right. Okay, so me personally, I don't think that it can be turned around because we've been indoctrinated for too long, and prophetically this has to happen. But at the end of the day, in your own personal and individual lives, you still strive for what is righteous. And
Okay.
that's the only way I'm able to answer that. In my own household, I have two sons of my own. I worry about them. I worry about what the world is going to look like when they're men. I worry about the type of wives that they're going to have. If there's going to be a United States or a world where they can still strive in, I worry about it on one hand, but I still strive for what is right and what is righteous. That's it. So it doesn't matter if this can be turned around or not. Whether I think
Right.
it can or not, I still strive for what is right. I still teach my sons the right way. I still submit to my husband because it's the right thing. And so every individual, we strive to do the right thing. I'm on this podcast because I want the truth to be spoken. And it says, and I know everyone doesn't believe, scripture. I get that. But truth in the end times is going to be very difficult to find. And so anyone that knows the truth, you spread it, you speak it, you live it, you do your best, and you keep on pushing forward. This might be turned around. I don't know. I don't believe it will be, but I'm
Right.
still going to push for what's
And
right and what's
this is why I
righteous.
say
Okay.
this is why I say, gentlemen, that's why you have to select. You're going to have to deal with some shit anyway. But
Right.
you're
It's
going
life.
to have to select from the best caliber of women that works for you and your agenda. All right. You're only going to get about like 60 to 70% of the things that you actually want in that. So make sure that you have a core belief system and she's on board with that. For me, it would be she has to be a God-fearing woman. All right, that's number one. So that is the reason why that's essential, guys, is because it puts her in her femininity. If she's not willing to submit to the creator, oh, she damn sure is not going to submit to a man. I'll tell you that right now. She is not going to. I got two chats going on. Yeah, so she's not willing to submit to the creator. She's definitely not going to submit to you as a man. There are certain things that you have to look for. And I honestly, I recommend that a lot of men shit test that woman right from the jump. And I mean, don't even waste your time in these conversations with her that go nowhere. Ask her from the jump that if she can aid in your agenda, what you got going on. This is my plan. I want to know, can you cook? I want to know, are you, how you are going to respond when I'm angry, right? Because if
Leo, let me step
Can I
in and say
jump
this
in
though,
here?
because I agree with y'all. But for a man to do that, he has to be willing to do what a man is supposed to do too. See, a lot of times, and this is a fault with a lot of people in red pill community. Sometimes it's I wouldn't say it's filled, but it does have some men in there that just believe that you can just go out and be a bum and use these ideas that we're creating to build strong families in your own way, and you could flip them and twist them to make it so that women are supposed to do whatever you want them to do if you're a bum. Now you got to
should they not
have some.
submit by default? Should they not submit by default? That my stance is that they should submit by default. I don't even care what that man has. What is your stance on that?
If a man wants a woman to be on his ship so that he could take them both to the island, as I like to say, he has to have a ship. You know what I'm saying? So I get the submission part. I get that a woman's supposed to have a certain respect for a man. But if there's a man that has not proven himself to be,
no,
because unfortunately, what we don't like to admit. What we don't like to admit, Leo, is there are a lot of men out there that have a very feminine mindset. We have a lot of men out there that aren't going to get you to the place you need to be. We have a lot of men out there that are going to get you pregnant and walk away. I wouldn't say a lot. There's a small minority, but these men are wreaking havoc. And a lot of women are falling into these traps because they're using these ideas to manipulate them. So if he hasn't shown that he's capable of doing his part of the bargain, as a woman, I don't think a woman should have to do her side if you ain't doing your side as a man. You should be the first one in if you a man in terms of leading, if that's what you're going to do.
Should a woman submit by default just because of the way men are structured?
Okay, is okay I jump in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I believe. You're going to have different levels of men. You're going to have what you call the high value men, the men that are working 80 hours a week. And then you're going to have the men that are, they're $40,000 a year men, and that's just where they're going to be. What I believe is that there is a woman for every man, and if you are that man that's a $40,000 a year man and you're not trying to go above and beyond, there's a woman for you. At the end of the day, our role as a woman is to submit to our man, and if you're that type of woman for that type of man, that's just who you are. But our role is to be an inspiration to that man. So let's say your man is that $40,000 a year man, then guess what? That's who you are. So you inspire that man. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts, when we are properly in our role, even that man that's making that $40,000 a year, when we submit to him, love him, we can encourage him and inspire him for more. Doesn't mean he's going to be more, because some men are, that's just what they are.
Absolutely.
But you're that woman for that man. That's what it is. And
absolutely.
Some men are high value men.
Sorry, I just wanted to go ahead, Nyla. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off again. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. Some men are those men that make them six figures, and they have that type of woman. Some men are that $40,000, $30,000 man, and you're going to have that woman. But at the end of the day, our role is still our role. I am here. Women are here to support you. So even that $40,000 a year man, he still is supposed to have a woman. Now, to be honest with you, is she going to be like they say a baddie and all this kind of? Probably not. She probably going to be a little bit overweight, may not be that pretty, all that kind of stuff. But that's your level. That's her level. Y'all go together and y'all be together. But at the end of the day, our role, pure and simple, is to be there for you, whatever man that we fit. So if you 250 pounds or whatever, then you gonna get a man that's making 40,000, and you need to be inspirational and you need to serve him, because that's what Hector gets, right? Mm-hmm. Don't Hector get that? Maria looks like a refrigerator, and that's his woman, and they love each other, and you build your legacy from that. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Nyla,
I'm sorry, Leo. I don't think that we disagree. I think that we are kind of just. Here's the thing. I'm talking about men that are not doing anything. Okay, so if you're a $40,000 a year man, if you're 20 years old and you're a $20,000, you got to build at some point. I get what you're saying. I'm talking about. And my idea too, and this is just a disclaimer, my idea that I just said can also be flipped by women to say I don't have to submit to a man unless he's providing. Provide 40,000, like I said before, not maybe in major cities, but if you move to the Midwest and a lot of other places where it's just a lot of empty space, y'all want to be in New York and you're going to have a hard time there. But in a lot of places, $40,000 is plenty. So that is a man that deserves respect, I believe. That is a man that can protect and provide, I believe. Now, if you want to go into hypergamy mode and because you've been on Instagram all day, you want more than that, and so you abandon that man for what you think you could go and get into the world, that's up to you. So yes, I do believe that $40,000, if you're an adult man, if you're obviously if you're doing something as a man. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just
I'm
get
going to
where I'm
jump in
going?
really quick. In my belief, I believe masculinity in general deserves the respect of women. Period. We're talking about dollar amounts, and in my mind, whether a man is making $1 million or whether he's making a little bit, if he's out here and he's working hard, masculinity in general deserves the respect of femininity. That is the proper place. Now, society and all the is going to kind of put everybody in their right place. So certain women deserve men that make more, and certain women and men deserve to be together if they're making a little bit less. That's just kind of what it is. But at the end of the day, masculinity deserves respect. Period. Now, if you do have a man that's out here not doing nothing, not working, you don't get no woman. No. And I think that's clear. If you're just not trying to work at all, you don't get a woman. You know what I mean? No, you don't. But there's men out here, and shout out to the ones that are blue collar. Listen. We want to talk about all this high value stuff. There are certain men out here, and one of my dearest friends of 20 years is a custodial supervisor, clean schools. We need that. That's necessary. We need to keep these schools clean so our kids can learn. So that man, in my mind, deserves respect as well, and he deserves a woman that's going to respect the work that he does. Even though he does not make $100,000, he deserves a woman that will respect him. Is he going to get the baddest girl out there? No, but he deserves a good woman that's going to treat him right. Now the weight, that's a whole nother thing. Even if your man makes 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 a year, a woman still needs to keep her weight down, and she still needs to be feminine, period. And you
Nyla,
submit and you serve your
that's
man.
a good segue into this question right here. What do you think of? Is a woman? This is going to be good, y'all. Is a woman hurting herself if she is a 4 or 5? If she's a 4 or 5, is she hurting herself by making a lot of money? Because typically the way women work is if she's a 4 or 5 and she's making $200K a year, she tends to want a man that is either on her level of income, right, or more. So, but the men that are on her level of income or more are not shooting for her. Or what is a woman hurting herself?
Of course, I think we know this. At the end of the day, a woman's. I keep saying that. I keep saying that, but it doesn't matter what a woman makes. Our role is our role. I don't care if we make it $1 million. Our role is our role for the betterment of society, and not just Black people, but every race. Our role is our role. So, in my mind, even if you're a woman that's making $1 million, whatever, you still need to be in submission to a man, because honestly, the women that are making those high amounts of money like that, they're the ones that are causing destruction in our society, because those are the ones that will not submit to a man. And at the end of the man needs to be in a position of authority. So basically, when a woman is making that type of money, she's all in it for herself. She's not about legacy and create and all those and the generation. She's not thinking about that. She's thinking about herself and making herself money, and that does not help society. Family units, legacy, those are the things that help society. So in my mind, a woman making that type of money means nothing, because that money is going to die with her. You know what I mean? So women can make that kind of money, but are they going to submit? Probably not. They're not. But they're going to die with that money, and it's going to mean nothing, because no legacy has been created with her. It dies with her. But when a man makes that, like, I'm going to talk about my husband, okay? I mean, we work hard, we struggle. You know, we're not rich people, but he talks about legacy. So the business that he does, what he's trying to do, he's trying to build a business that his sons can inherit if they want, and to continue on. What a woman does, if you're on what they call it, what's that site where they
OnlyFans.
Thank you. I'm sorry. So
I already knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. So if you're on OnlyFans, is that really creating a legacy for your children, being on OnlyFans? Is that a business that you can pass down? See, that's the thing. That's the mind of a woman. She's in it for herself. OnlyFans and the ones on Instagram, that's not about legacy. That's about making money and promoting themselves. That's why we cannot go be led by women, because we are irrational like children, like dogs. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, that's a whole mouth. Hey, Leo, let me go ahead. I got another person. I'm gonna get you back up in here in a second.
Okay, cool.
I got another person in the chat. Let me go ahead and bring them in. Appreciate you for coming on, bro. I'm gonna have you back.
I'm in the room.
All right, Exile Lioness. Let's see what you got to say. You up?